Hey, how you doing? Today is a yummy recipe, and I used to go to the restaurant about once or twice a month for this yummy stuff. But since we've been closed a little bit here and there, it's kind of been a challenge to get to the restaurant. So I wanted to bring it here to a tutorial video to try to share it with you, and let's try to make it simple for you. So what it is shabu shabu. It's so yummy. So it's filled with meat and veggies, and you don't need to put in noodles if you don't want. Today, we're not going to use noodles. We're just going to use a whole bunch of thin sliced meat and your favorite veggies like mushrooms and stuff. You could choose your own veggies, but I'll show you what I chose today. So I have pot number 1 and pot number 2. Okay, so pot number 1 is a traditional shabu shabu. Pot number 2 is going to be miso soup shabu shabu. So you see me go through it. For pot number 1, it's 8 cups of water, and then 2 4-inch pieces of this. So this is, the official name is dried kelp. Okay, so it flavors the soup like a seaweed flavor. So dried kelp cut. Okay, so product of Korea, and the other name for it is kombu. So here you go, another close look at it. So I already went ahead and put it in there, and it's been simmering about 40 minutes. So the water is a little bit, I would say, hot. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that one alone. But first, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of mirin. Okay, here is the mirin, and this is Japanese sweet cooking rice seasoning, and it is almost a important component in all of Japanese cooking. So I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of mirin. All right, so this is what flavors this soup. Okay, so that's pot number 1. And I am just going to turn the heat on the water up a little bit. Instead of that simmering at low, I'm going to turn it on medium. Okay, now let's move on to pot number 2. Pot number 2 is 8 cups of water, and again, 2 4-inch pieces of this kombu, dried kelp. Okay, so I already put it in, and it's been in there about 30 minutes simmering. So another close-up look at it. And it's stiff. It's totally stiff. You can hear it. Let me see if I can break it in half. You can't hear it. It's actually stiff, but doesn't make much of a sound. It's not like a tortilla chip. It's literally a seaweed. So let me see if I got another picture. It seems as though most of them have this like white film over the top, if you could see it. So I washed that off and put it in both of my pots. So in pot number 2, it already has that been simmering about 30 minutes, 2 of those. Okay, then the next one for pot number 2 is 5 tablespoons of miso paste. So I have 2 kinds of miso paste here. I have mild miso, 30% less sodium, and this is basically yellow miso. Okay, and then I found another one that I think might like better. Is called sweet miso. It's the same color, but it's 50% less sodium. Okay, so this is a close-up of it. Sweet miso. I think I'm gonna use the sweet miso today. I'm gonna try that one out. So I'm gonna put 5 tablespoons of sweet miso paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a lot of miso. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a swish over here. So shabu shabu translates to swish swish. If you didn't know, I had to look it up too. Like, that's such a cute name. It's very easy on the tongue, but swish swish is a translation. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna also put that to medium heat. All right, so I'm gonna show you the vegetables and the meat because I'm gonna add them rapidly after I show you. So the vegetables I chose today, okay, are regular white mushrooms, and then you just get a handful of that. And then I chose baby Bella mushrooms, handful of that. And then my favorite mushroom, Enoki mushroom, handful of that. And this is my favorite bokcoy, super, super green baby bokcoy, handful of that. And then at the store, this was on sale, firm tofu. So you could do a handful of that. And I'm gonna try to sneak this one in for the kids. Hopefully they don't see it. Handful of this, if you know what I mean. This, I used it yesterday. I used half of it yesterday for one of my Filipino beef stir fries, beef steak. So I decided to keep half of it for this video to make for the shabu shabu. So this is thin ribeye. And then this is very thin sliced pork. And I also got a hold of this prime marbled brisket. So there's about 5 of us that are going to be eating today, and we hardly ate today. Everybody's waiting for me to be done, so it seems like a lot of meat, but for 5 of us, it's hardly nothing. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we got everything kind of mixing up already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding things in, and that will be it. That will be done. I'll be done with the video. So it's a very, very simple recipe. Let me try to get you a close-up of the meat here so you see how thin it really is sliced. I can even hardly pick up a piece because it's so thin. Okay, let me see. Here is about 2 pieces kind of mixed in. There's more. So this is a nice cut because the ribeye is very tasty and it has a lot of marbling. So this is a nice cut to put in. Now, here is the thin sliced pork. So this too is very, very thin. Here's one cut. Super thin, almost see-through. But that's what makes shabu shabu what it is, the thin sliced meat. And I would say for every pound you're going to be paying about $10. Okay? So if you go to shabu shabu in the restaurant, you're going to be paying about $20 a person. So if you have a family of 5, expect to pay at least $100 plus tip, about $130 to feed your family for shabu shabu. When here, you get to pick all your vegetables. If you make it yourself, you pick all your vegetables and get all the kinds of meats that you want. And this is the prime marbled brisket. So this is about a pound also. And these can go right in to the pots. All right, so let's just start adding in the mushrooms. So, because those take longer to cook. So I'm just gonna add to both. And here is the baby Bella mushrooms. And then I'm gonna add in the broccoli. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in the bok choy. Oh boy, it's looking really healthy. So the other reason I wanted to do this video is because I'm trying to just show everybody that even though this stuff is healthy, you could make it fun. We're just not trying to gain too much weight in 2021. 2020 was pretty bad. But okay, here we go. Next, I'll go ahead and add the tofu. Okay, so here is 1 block of firm tofu. So there you go. So I'm gonna just put a few blocks, cut up blocks in the soup. Oops. Okay, so we got our vegetables in. I think I'll add the last mushroom at the very, very end. So let's see. Let's put this a little bit on high. Okay, and since for the purpose of the video, I have these two 14-inch skillets made by Dash, you can also just get your, stock pot and do this in the stock pot. It'll probably cook better because the level of the water will be higher. But in order to show you the shabu shabu, I just had to use these skillets instead. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do, okay, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and use all this beef brisket. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna put it in there. And these beef briskets, they cook fast, so if you have to take it out earlier than the rest of the food, then you just gotta take it out. Okay. So I just barely dipped it in, and it's already turning the color that I want. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and I'll add the ribeye to the miso soup. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add half of the pork to the miso. So I'm gonna just leave it on the other side here so it's kind of separated. And I'll show you a close-up of this when I have everything added. Okay, and then I'll add a little bit of pork here. I know it's going to have a mix of the pork and a little bit mix of the pork and the beef, but hey, all the more better. You can pick out the actual flavor that you want in your meat when you do this for yourself. The nice thing about this, it's the large portion of the flavoring actually has nothing to do with the meat or the vegetables. It has to do with the dipping sauces. So I didn't forget that. So the #1 dipping sauces, Japanese miso dressing. Okay, that's one of my faves. Another one is Thai style peanut sauce, another fave. And probably the top 3 fave, kikkoman ponzu sauce. So between those 3, oh man, you're gonna be a happy camper. So let's see what we got here. Okay, let me see if I could get a close-up for you. that is pot number 1. Doesn't that look yummy? So that is 8 cups of water, 2 4-inch pieces of kombu seaweed, and 2 tablespoons of mirin. Okay, then the second one is 8 cups of water, 2 4-inches of kombu seaweed, and 5 tablespoons of miso. Doesn't that look delicious? And here's the first one again. So again, you get to choose your veggies. Don't worry too much about what veggies I chose. If you don't like mushrooms in particular, just choose something that you like. I've seen this done with Napa cabbage. I've seen it done with squash. I've seen it done with thin sliced carrots. What else have I seen it done with? Sweet potatoes. But today I'm just going to try to get my mushrooms and bokcoy in. Those are practically my favorite and healthy antioxidant vegetables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my last mushrooms to the miso. So these are my Enoki mushrooms. Stir it around a little bit and I'll let you go. Okay, so this one is calling to be turned around. Okay, so if you want to separate beef from pork, that's okay too. If you don't like to put them together. But since I had to cook so much, I went ahead and gave each of it like each share of beef and pork. All right, so I hope that you try this one day with all these dipping sauces and let me know how it goes for you with this shabu shabu. That way you could do this at home and not have to worry about going out and paying all the server fees, and you definitely have leftovers. One thing about shabu shabu is you are not allowed to bring your Tupperware for your leftovers. Everything has to stay there. But here you have plenty leftovers. All right, please take care. Bye-bye.